Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel UiPath tutorials. Now today in this video I'm going to show you how you can create a JSON config file. So we have all seen the Excel config file and we generally use it, but what if I want to use a JSON config file? For that, what you have to do? So you have to create a JSON config file. Let me close it. Let me open it in the notepad first, and also let me open the config file, which is a Excel config file. Now if you see here, we have a settings, constant and asset sheets, right? And in the settings we have three columns: name, value, description. In the constants also name, value, description. But in the assets we see name, assets, orchestrator, asset folder, and the description here. Now similar way I have to describe in the JSON file. I have created a settings, constants and assets, and inside that I have defined basically all information of settings. So if you see on the name, it's a log app business process name, and the value is framework, and the description is this one. Let me make the same thing here. Now the value is framework. Let me make it framework. Yeah. So if you see, the name is log f underscore business process name, and value is framework, and description is logging field which allow grouping of log data. Means same information which is present here in this row, it is present here. If you see, similar way for the another row which have the value orchestrator queue name, and the value as Kibana, and the description I have given here. Now similar way for the constants also you have to define, which have a certain names like max retry, screenshot folder path, log message, that you can define in a similar way. So let me show you for one. Like I have defined for max retry number, the name is max retry number, and the value is 1, and the description I have copied from here. For assets we have name, instead of value we have asset, and the description. If you go to this assets file, you will see it it have a name, asset, and the description. Also it have orchestrator assets folder. You can also create that particular field here, but for now I have created only name, asset, and description. This is how you have to create a JSON file. Now to validate this JSON file, you can use the online tools which you have. For now I'm using is jsonlint.com. Just put your JSON text here and validate it. If it's validated, it's good to go. If it has some validation errors, which means, let me remove this for now, and if I validate JSON, you will see it is saying that it have some error. So just make sure this your JSON file should not have any error, and you can validate on any online tools. Now let's go to the studio. So firstly you have to read this JSON file with the help of read text file. So you will find a read text file in the files. Basically drag drop here and just pass a JSON file path, and the output will be stored in a variable which is config text, and the variable type is string for it. Then you have to use a deserialize JSON activity. Now you will not going to find it here. For that you have to install a package which is UiPath.web API.activities. Once you install this package, you will able to see the activities of JSON. Now if I write down here JSON, you will find the activities of JSON is come here. Now you can drag drop the activity of JSON from here and pass us this variable which is config text here, and also you have to create a output of this particular activity which is JSON object. If you see JSON object have a variable type J object here. I hope this is clear. So far we have read the config file, JSON config file, and we are just putting a config text, which is basically an output of read text file. Also we have created a variable for deserialization just to store its output in the JSON object. So far this we have done. Now we have created the dictionary here. So we see the dictionary is created here. Now this dictionary is of string and string type. Similar way this it is initialized here with a new dictionary of string. After this a for each is used where the variable JSON object is passed here. So when the JSON object is passed here, we have to write a select token also. Why? Because if you open the JSON file here, I only want these values to be put into the config variable or a dictionary. For that basically I have selected this token. Once I have selected this token, I am going to retrieve the rest of the tokens easily. How? If you see the item here, its argument type is newtonsoft.json.link.jtoken. So you have to use this particular type. Now one more thing, when you have created deserialization, just when you go to the properties, you have to select a type argument here as a J object. So here you are selecting a J object, but in item you have to select a J token. Remember it. Now once J token you have created, the type you have created for this item, take assign activities, and you have to write to the left, means you have to write this particular syntax to the left of the assign, where config in the bracket item dot select token name. I'm just retrieving a value of name. Basically the value of name is log app business process name. Now this will be stored in a dictionary. Similar way to the right, I am going to store the value also. The value will be framework here. So if you see, I have to write it here as a item dot select token in the bracket value dot toString dot prim. Now in this for each, you will see it that all the names and value will be stored in the dictionary on the key and value pairs. Once we have done with the settings, let's go to the constant. In similar way, we have to write down JSON object dot select token, and inside that the constants item will which be changed, means the type argument will be a J token here. You have to use assign activity. Similar way you have to assign config item select token in the bracket name, and to the right a value. Like in the for each loop what we have done, this is the token initially, and then we are retrieving the rest of the tokens and putting into the dictionary in the key value pair. Now for the settings also we have put all the information in the dictionary, and for constants also. Now for the assets, similar way we have to write here the assets, and the item type argument is the J token. Now the only change here is basically I am retrieving an actual value from the assets. Now if you see here, the name is a folder path and asset is also folder path, right? So I want this asset value to be placed actually. I don't want this folder path to be placed, but the actual value of this asset. The actual value of this asset means, if you go, let me open the I'm just opening the UiPath automation cloud orchestrator. Okay, now let's go to the orchestrator. I'll show you the asset, basically the one of the asset that I have created for folder path. So if you see here, I have created one asset folder path, right, and its value is C colon Gaurav. So this I want to store, not the name basically, but a value. So that's why I have used get asset. So when I have write item dot select token in the bracket asset dot to screen, that means it will give me a asset name which is folder path, and then it will search in the orchestrator. Okay, where is the name folder path? So here is the name folder path, and it will check, okay, what is the value with respect to this folder path. The value is C Gaurav. Now it will going to give us that value in the output. So if you go to the properties, I am storing that value into the asset value. Now same value I am passing here, asset value, and at left side I'm using the same config item select token in the bracket name. Let me open it for you once. So similar thing, I am storing a name. Basically name is a folder path, and to the right I am storing a value. Value means I'm not storing a folder path, but the folder path value, which is C Gaurav. So now we have updated dictionary. Now if let me print the folder path value. If I use a dictionary here which is config and give a key name which is folder path, if I'm going to run it, you will see a value will be printed, but not a folder path, but an actual value of a asset which is on the orchestrator, which is C Gaurav. So you see C Gaurav is printed, but let me check for other. Let me print for log, as we have already put all the information in the dictionary. So I'm just printing it now. Let me check what is the value of it. The value of this log app business process name is framework, right? If I write down this key, that means it should give me the value as a framework. Now you see it will give me a framework. So it works in a similar way, right? We have only changed the approach. We uh, basically when we create a RE framework, it always give a Excel file, a config Excel file. But if you want to utilize it, then you can use a JSON config file instead of that, if you want to change your approach. Now this is it uh, for today's topic. Hope you like this video, and don't forget to comment on my videos. If you have any doubt, I am glad to help you. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye.